What happens if you own land in one of those corridors?
Well, it can be very bad because nobody wants to buy land like that. So if you need to sell for any reason, it's difficult and sometimes impossible. And of course, you can't develop the land, so you can't find ways to make it profitable. And even minor improvements are often difficult when people have tried to just do things like add an addition to a house or enclose a carport and turn it into a garage, and sometimes even those kinds of permits have been denied. So it's very difficult for the people who own land in a corridor.
It sounds like people are stuck.
They're stuck, absolutely. I say they're in a state of limbo because they can't sell, they can't develop their land, and they don't know when, if ever, this situation is going to end. John,
where have people been affected by this?
Well, there are major corridors around Winston-Salem for a beltway there. There's major corridors in Wake County, and there's others here and there around the state, including some in the eastern part.
Now, state transportation officials undoubtedly would say, well, look, we've got to plan for decades down the road, no pun intended. We've got to figure out where these transportation corridors would go. How is it that we ended up with a law that is so restrictive and so unfriendly to property rights and property owners?
I think, again, it's because of the climate of opinion at the time. When in the 80s, planning professionals and planning bureaucrats were very keen on this idea of transportation planning. They thought that it wasn't enough to plan what went on within cities. They decided they needed to plan these transportation corridors in and around and between cities. So it was a chance for them to sort of expand their empires. Most states didn't bite. North Carolina is one of only a handful of states, 13 according to a report that we did a couple of years ago, that actually enacted statutes like this one that give state departments of transportation these kinds of powers. Most states didn't do it, which is why I say the MAP Act's unnecessary. It clearly isn't necessary because all these other states, 37 at least, are able to provide for their transportation needs without giving their departments of transportation these kinds of powers.